So yeah, that was hell. Now, coming in at number 7. Now this is a bit of a compromise. It's Let It Be, as you can already tell. This is a bit of a compromise. I used to like Let It Be much more, and I used to not get why people rank it so low. I get it a little more now, you know, but I'm still considering my personal preference a little. It's kind of, I'm a bit back and forth on some of these albums, you know, the popular ones as well as the unpopular ones, you know. But anyway, me ranking this higher than Help is kind of considering my personal preference and still trying to be true to that still in a way, you know, because it's, again, there arguments could be found for ranking Help higher than this, you know. A lot of people probably would. They will even rank this much lower. I personally, first of all, the thing that it was actually about really is the one that made it the most interesting to me is this kind of way that it feels like a live album, and they have those little, it's like those little imperfections in it, you know, and it's not really polished and produced. And then at the same time, I also never had a problem with the Long and Winding, especially the Long and Winding Road, which I get. The thing is, I listen to Let It Be naked, and I can absolutely tell where Paul McCartney is coming from. You know, I can tell, I get it, you know. But then again, I mean, there's some things. The way the Long and Winding Road is produced on this is very 70s to me, and reminds me of something from my childhood. Some of my mom's old tapes or something, I don't know. And it even did back then when I heard it the first time, when I already wasn't a child anymore, technically. I was 15, yeah, okay. I don't know, maybe that's, I can't really explain it any better than that. So the fact that they let Dig It and Let It Be, Maggie May, that Let It Be is kind of surrounded by Dig It and Let It Maggie May, which we all know was trying to sabotage it. It ironically makes the song work even better, in my opinion, you know. And this is one of the qualities of the Beatles, is playfulness, how they use those little things and to actually make the bigger ones work even better, in my opinion. So also no problem with that. Also don't have a problem with them doing a folk song from Liverpool. Why not? For one time, you know. And yeah. It's interesting that the project was called They Get Back originally, but the thing they're getting back to is something they've never actually done before. Because this is, yes, they're doing more rock again, more pure rock, but it's a completely different kind of rock. You know, this is not She Loves You, yeah, you know. This Dig a Pony has kind of almost like a Janis Joplin vibe or something, you know. This is them kind of making the kind of rock that was more of a usual in the late 60s, you know, early 70s. That's fascinating, you know. But this is the fascinating thing about the Beatles. That's what makes them stand out, is that no album is really like the other. And this is no exception. And that's why I really enjoy it, you know. That's, yeah, whatever. Coming in at number 6 would be Rubber Soul. Rubber Soul is good. The thing is, it's a good album. So there you go. No, the thing is, I used to. It took me a lot of time. I mean, we all know the story that this inspired Brian Wilson to do Pet Sounds. And Brian Wilson said the songs. It sounds like one, and it sounds like the songs are all coming from the same place. And it took me a long time to understand what he means by that. And I'm still not able to put it into words what exactly that is. But I now get it much more. You can tell that there a lot more thought was put into which songs to put on the album, you know, and which songs and how to position them on the album, you know. And the production sounds, yeah, I guess Brian Wilson actually, yeah, was right. You know, it sounds like they're all coming from the same place, whatever that means, you know. It's not like the earlier albums were a bit messier in that sense, although I actually like the messiness in a way. Later, I like the way the later albums are messy, when it's just one different style, when every song is in a different style, basically. I love that. And this is something that Rubber Soul does not have. It's actually even kind of a step back. after Help and Beatles for say were so folk inspired, but it's good. It's a good album. So it's the lyrics are, oh my god. I mean, with the exception of Nowhere Man and The Word, which are not about relationships at all, and then Michelle, In My Life and Wait, which are just lovely love songs, you know. Almost all of those songs are them being mean to women in one way or another. It kind of feels like they had to get that off their chest after all those years of doing love kind of thing. You know, I don't know. Drive my car. The woman who drives my car is kind of a jerk. You know, this picture is kind of is described as kind of a jerk. The one in Norwegian Wood has her apartment burned down. You Won't See Me is also kind of, you know, yeah, being um, being hurt and by a woman, of course, etc. Think for yourself. Oh my God! I mean, like, she's stupid. What the hell? What goes on? Another girl cheated on me and sucks kind of song. Girl, oh my God! Even started. I'm looking through you again. If I needed someone, it's like what the hell, you know? Yeah, kind of like a bit like Another Girl once again. You know, like yeah. If I needed someone to call you, you know, until then, leave me alone. And then, of course, the infamous last song. I would rank that song very low due to its lyrics. Not musically. Musically, it's actually kind of cool and catchy, but also not the most interesting one because still kind of like straightforward rock and roll. And not there's anything wrong with that, but you know. But the lyrics, I mean, what the hell? And John later they apologized for that, I think, and then regretted doing that himself. I mean, Jealous Guy is almost like Jealous Guy is kind of an apology for that song, even kind of. But yeah, so that was Rubber Soul. Now the next one, number 5, is once again a bit of a compromise. Again, the fact that I'm ranking this higher than Rubber Soul is kind of trying to stay true to my personal preferences. And in this case, it's stronger. It's not as hard to decide as it was deciding between Let It Be and Help. This one I definitely like more than Rubber Soul. You know, I definitely like Magical Mystery Tour more than Rubber Soul. I still do. You know. The Fool on the Hill. The first song is not particularly interesting, although I like the outro, which kind of sounds like the Doors to me. I don't know. I wonder if anyone ever. Maybe I just didn't do enough research, but I feel like because if I did do research, I probably would stumble across that mentioned somewhere. But the outro sounds like the Doors to me. That's interesting. The Fool on the Hill stands out. Flying, okay, not so much. Blue Jay Way, not so much. Your Mother Should Know is really nice. I like those. I should mention that I like that side of Paul McCartney a lot. I love it actually, which John dismissed as granny songs. I mean, all Beatles songs are technically granny songs now, which is a shock for me too, you know, because for me, I still remember them as parent songs at least, you know. But now you see 20-year-olds being like listening to something like. I don't know, listening to something like Drive My Car, for example, and being like, oh, that's the kind of music that my grandmother likes. And this is still confusing and shocking to me, you know. Because grandparents for me are the kinds of people who were, in my case, where you wondered what they were doing back then. But yeah, anyway. So Your Mother Should Know, really like that. I'm the Walrus is fantastic. I love it. I even made a cover version of this myself, where I reinterpreted it as an angry outcry, the song. I mean, in a way, it could, maybe some people wouldn't say in a way it is, but I know it was supposed to be nonsense for the sake of being nonsense, you know, to mess with people who interpreted too much into his songs, you know. But I reinterpreted it as an angry outcry because there are things to be angry about these days. What exactly I'm referring to, that's up to you to to interpret. But yeah, yeah, Hello Goodbye is nice. Those two, I'm the Walrus and Hello Goodbye, are kind of John's and Paul's take on nonsense. You know, Hello Goodbye is also nonsense lyrics, but really funny, really nice. Strawberry Fields Forever, just as Strawberry Fields Forever and Penny Lane are their take on childhood memories, you know. And so typical, you know, John being weird and introspective, and Paul telling those lovely little stories, you know, about the people around him. Baby, You're a Rich Man, that's an interesting case because to me that was always a bit of a throwaway song, but a lot of people really love it. I don't hate it, you know, I find it interesting, especially with the bagpipes there. But yeah, it's not one that I put, and it's not my favorite. All You Need Is Love is absolutely lovely, obviously. Yeah, it's not much more to say about that. Now coming in at number 4 is Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. I don't think that I have to. A lot of people will be surprised that I mean, some people will surprise that it's not number 1 for me. But then again, I think the albums that are yet to come are a lot of people's number 1. And I don't think anyone will be, I hope in this case, it's still made it to number 4, you know, I mean. And it's another case where I'm going back and forth on it a bit. I used to not like it as much. I mean, I liked it, but it's actually kind of similar to Pet Sounds and even Rubber Soul for that matter. The albums that where people make the most fuss about are usually the ones where I like probably expect too much or something, you know. And when I first heard it, I did not really. I get it much more. I get the difference between this and Magical Mystery Tour or something. Yeah, even Magical Mystery Tour, not to mention the earlier albums, you know. More, it's again one where you can tell that they put a lot of effort in what to put on the album and what order to put the songs in, you know, and that they all sound like the entire album sounds like one piece of art. I mean, that is what this album is praised for, and I get it, you know. Now, but I get it better now than I used to, because I mean, back then, when I first discovered them, I was listening to the individual songs and whether I liked them, you know. And there's probably more songs there might actually be more songs on Magical Mystery Tour than I like them on. Okay. Good Morning. I think a lot of people actually, from what I heard, would agree with me that is not the best Beatles song. It's a bit, you know, Lovely Rita is nice, but also not particularly interesting. Within You Without You is not George's best song, Indian-inspired song. But the fact that it is Indian-inspired at all is the fact that they even got that in their repertoire. You know, that is the Beatles. You know, that's what's so fascinating about them. But yeah, one of my favorite Beatles album moments ever, one of the greatest that works the best in terms of contrast and everything, is when it goes from Within You Without You to When I'm 64. This is such a great musical contrast. But also, She's Leaving Home, also being for the benefit of Mr. Kite after she's leaving home. You know, being for the benefit of Mr. Kite is really cool, really interesting, something completely different away. Yet again, She's Leaving Home also is in a way, you know, also in terms of the subject they are about is so different, etc. Another great moment, you know. You see The Sky with Diamonds is just wonderfully weird, you know. And then The Day in the Life is absolutely fantastic. Also something I learned to appreciate much more than I used to. But it's just great. And again, there's not much more to say about this, I think. I almost like this version of With a Little Help of my with a little help from my friends better than the Joe Cocker version, actually, must admit. I mean, Joe Cocker's songs live a lot from his they work because of his voice, you know, a lot. But this, I don't know, maybe it's just because I heard this version first, I don't know, but I like it more. It's kind of, I don't know. So anyway, yeah, so I guess, again, there's not much more to say about this. So let's move on to number 3. It would be Abbey Road. Another one, speaking of great Beatles album moments in terms of contrast, another one of my favorites is when it goes from "I Want You, She's So Heavy" to "Here Comes the Sun." This is the greatest musical contrast you could imagine, you know. And yeah, in this case, I'm almost certain that "Here Comes the Sun" opens the second. It's the B side. Someone please correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, but I also this is such a bold move in a way, such a bold move in a way to put "I Want You, She's So Heavy" at the end of the first side, especially if when it just stops and people are like, "Oh, what the hell?" And then it goes do 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 do. It's fantastic. I love that. Yeah, Max with Silverhammer. I always liked. It's another one of those that John dismisses as granny songs, which is particularly interesting because this is some black humor here, dude. This is about someone killing people with his hammer. I mean, what the hell? This is not actually totally not what you'd expect from Paul McCartney. I mean, he also showed a more edgier side of himself on the White Album, obviously. Or on "Oh Darling," at least in terms of the singing. Another great song. "Come Together" is really good. "Something" is really nice. My favorite, I like "Here Comes the Sun" better. I really like "Octopus's Garden." I like it better than "Don't Pass Me By." Because it's one that I kind of keep forgetting about for some reason, even though it's also beautiful and something completely different yet again, you know, more this classic inspired kind of thing. "You Never Give Me Your Money" is great. I must admit, I'm a bit with John here on this, with John's opinion. I'm not this medley kind of thing is not the best part of the album, in my opinion. It's not my favorite part. I don't know. It's maybe I want all those songs to be completed and not just, I don't know. It's just kind of a stupid way to look at it, I guess. I mean, I get what they were trying to do there. It's something new and unusual for pop. But it's not musically. It's not my favorite part. It's good, but not great. But not. It's really good. Okay. It's just not. It's just that I like some of the songs. Just some of the songs from especially "Here Comes the Sun," "You Never Give Me Your Money." All those I like those more, you know. And I like, of course, there's the fact that the last Beatles album, even though technically Let It Be came out later, which people try to forget about, I think. Okay. Technically the last Beatles album ends with a song called "The End," and then Her Majesty comes along and ruins everything. I never had a problem with that either. This is one. Again, there's this kind of playfulness of the Beatles that I like, actually. I mean, they stay true to that with Her Majesty. It's kind of anticlimactic, but I like that, you know. It's kind of the way I see it, okay? So, yeah. So, now we're at number 2, and that is, drumroll please, and that is, drumroll please, Revolver. Yeah, this album, oh my God. Again, so many things have been said about this album that I don't even know where to start or whether I should list. My favorite songs on it are "I Don't Know Rigby" and "Tomorrow Never Knows," which are both completely unusual and weird and interesting and fantastic in their own way. But also "Yellow Submarine," suddenly they do a children's song. What the hell, you know? "Taxman" is for the first time being more openly satirical and political, you know. "Love You Too" is suddenly they go Indian, you know, which is the first time that they actually went Indian if you don't consider the Norwegian Wood, the sitar and Norwegian Wood, which George himself said was kind of there by accident, didn't really belong on it, didn't really have to be on the song, but this is definitely Indian inspired, you know, and better song than "Within You Without," in my opinion. Like I said, and suddenly you do a children's song, "Yellow Submarine," you know, "Good Day Sunshine," suddenly you do one of those, you know. "For No One," beautiful melody with a French horn coming in suddenly. "Dr. Robert," wonderfully sarcastic. "I Want to Tell You" with this interesting dissonance. "Got to Get You Into My Life," inspired by Stevie Wonder. I mean, this kind of, no offense to Paul's singing, but in this particular case, it actually shows that the quality, again, like in Joe Cocker's case, a lot of the quality of Stevie Wonder's music has to do with Stevie Wonder's voice, actually, I gotta admit. So it doesn't work quite. I wouldn't even guess it was supposed to be a Stevie Wonder song until I recently I read that somewhere. So but still a really good, catchy song. Nothing wrong with it, you know. Yeah. And then Tomorrow Never Knows, which is the weirdest and most fantastic thing anyone's ever heard, probably, you know. Absolutely great. So yeah, what's the number one? What could it be? Uh, I'm thinking of how I can do this the best way. Without, I can't think of one. So my number one is the Beatles, aka the White Album. Surprise, surprise. I mean, there were so many left. Anyway, why is it my favorite? For a similar reason, the reason is similar to why Revolver is so high up my list. Is to why I ranked Revolver so high. This album got everything. It's got blues, it got rock, and everything perfectly. I mean, I think I even feel like they got better musicians at that point. You know, they got, it's kind of like they started off fine, you know, then had this experimental phase, and this is the point where they had left that behind and came out of it as much better musicians even than they were before. You know, and they pulled off everything and perfectly, you know, perfectly. And this is also one of the reasons why Honey Pie is actually my favorite of Paul's Granny songs, you know, because it's so spot on. That is such a fantastic imitation of a particular style, which is totally retro at the time already, you know. And so it's, you know, you're all this rock and roll and craziness, and suddenly you are, but suddenly the same guy who had written Helter Skelter, it takes you into a completely different place in time. Suddenly, like somewhere in the 20s or something, I don't know, or at least 30s, 40s, I don't know. And it's so spot on. You know, I love that song actually. I don't get why people rank it so low. Yeah, Back in the USSR is just great opener, funny Beach Boys parody, you know, etc. Sure, okay, yeah. Why My Guitar Gently Weeps, one of the best songs ever written. Just, you know, Martha, My Dear was one that I was particularly fascinated by when I heard it. This album actually properly introduced me to the Beatles, and that might be one of the reasons I'm ranking it so high. But I've changed my mind about some albums, you know, not about this. You know, this is still so great. Helter Skelter basically invents hard rock, you know, just for fun, basically. Rocky Raccoon is suddenly we go Western, you know, Western ballad. Beautiful melodies like Blackbird thrown in there, you know, nothing absolutely sexy. Sadie is a great melody and song again. Long, Long, Long is beautiful and underrated. Yeah. And yeah, I love Revolution 9. I don't get why people, I get why the casual view, it's not necessarily for the casual audience, you know, but why even hardcore, diehard Beatles fans have such a problem with that song, I don't get. You know, because it's not like, I mean, if the Beatles were kind of band who exclusively did things like that, I would mainly listen to two of those and then be like, okay, I'm good, you know, whatever. I don't need it. I'm not interested in that band. I'm not a fan. I'm not interested in that band. I'm not going to be a fan. I wouldn't have been a fan because like a lot of people wouldn't. But this is just one time, okay? And it's like I said, this is kind of the end of the experimental phase, which has a lot to do with them being disappointed, I think, by their trip to the Maharishi and all that stuff. And also perfectly symbolizes even the fact that the cover is just white, you know, just the fact that the cover is just white. They've been doing something like that those times. By the band was just one year before I released Sgt. Pepper. I mean, you know, all of this is kind of perfectly symbolizes the like more disillusioned, more aggressive, more political. It's not actually that political, but you know, disillusioned, slightly more aggressive later, or even much more aggressive in some cases, because they were, but you know, Anyway, yeah, and in Revolution 9, even kind of, yeah, the one experimental song that is on it is actually also in itself kind of reflecting this craziness of the later 60s, you know, and how it all kind of went, yeah, from flower power to chaos and not so good things quickly, you know, and whatever. And yeah, I think it's kind of the other Beatles albums have been praised for being so well composed, you know. But this is a compositional masterpiece, in my opinion. It all flows into each other so well, you know. All the songs flow into each other so well, and yet every song is different. You know, you never get bored or anything. You know, never get repetitive. It never gets repetitive. You know, um, then it's almost like it's almost like you're watching kind of like watching a musical or something. Then in Revolution 9 is like the showdown, and then Good Night is like the big closing number. You know, the big uh, where everything's good again. You know, and you're releasing the audience into the night. You know, you're being like good night, everybody. You know, it's fantastic, and yeah, absolutely love this album. Absolutely amazing. And yeah, I think there's not much more to say for now because everything else can be discussed in the comment section. Let me know in the comment section how you feel, what you think, if you agree with my list or not. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And see you around for when I do a video like this again, which will probably be in a year or 2 years now. No, actually, that's not the plan. I'm actually planning on doing a little more like that, but also I'm also going to continue doing songs and compositions, probably maybe even better, hopefully, and then the ones that I already got. Although you still might like one or two of those too, maybe that would be nice. So anyway, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think about Beatles albums and how to rank them. And see you around. Bye.